For it, can I please ask members to appoint a chairman for the meeting, please?
Nominate Councillor Driver.
Councillor Dryborough, thank you.
Good morning, members. Welcome to this local review body meeting on the 20th of February. Can I ask members to make sure their phones are turned off on silent? I don't want any dogs barking, Jock. And can I remind members that this meeting is being recorded and can be used for public listening. Clerk, can you take us through the procedure?
Thank you. Well, Sederunt and Apologies then, first chair. Can confirm we've got 5 members present this morning. No apologies.
Are there any declarations of interest? No, thank you. And then we'll go on to the notice of review for Bridgend, Cottage, Parkgate, Dumfries. Refusal of planning permission for temporary site and a static caravan lodge for a period of 3 years. Information of hardstanding and associated engineering works partially retrospective 18/1209/FUL. Can you go through the thing?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I can take you through the papers for this item. And before I start, I'd just like to give assurance that all members of the local review body have received the full information that was submitted by the applicant. This includes that redacted in today's papers on pages 17 and 18 and 91, 92 and 94. So moving on then, we have the usual sets of papers in our papers today: the notice of review, report and handling, observations of the appointed officer, comment of the applicant on the observations of the appointed officer, the planning application form and associated plans, the decision notice and the relevant extracts from the Dumfries and Galloway local development plan, as well as the photos of the application site and locality. The grounds of refusal are on pages 105 to 106. It has not been satisfactorily demonstrated that there is a justified short-term need for the siting of a caravan to serve as a dwelling at this location. Furthermore, the proposal is considered visually intrusive. Accordingly, the proposal is contrary to the policy of the Council as stated in the Local Development Plan policies OP1, OP2 and H7. 2. The proposal is contrary to the policy of the Council as stated in the Local Development Plan policy IN7 and associated supplementary guidance, flooding and development, and to national policy as set out in the Scottish Planning Policy in that the site was located wholly within the functional floodplain and no flood risk assessment has been submitted to demonstrate that the site is not at adverse flood risk or that the main access and egress route to the application site is not at risk of flooding. As a result, the proposed development of the proposed dwelling house is at high flood risk and may place potential occupants and rescuers at risk. 3. The proposal is contrary to the policy of the Council as stated in the Local Development Plan policies OP1, OP2 and HE1 and to national policy as set out in the Scottish Planning Policy and Historical Environment Policy statement, and the proposal would fail to preserve the setting of the Category B listed bridge. The requested method of determination on page 14 is the applicant has requested that the review be dealt with by a following range of procedures on the basis of further written submissions, on the basis of a hearing session and on the basis of an inspection of the land. The grounds stated in the notice of review are in summary. The purpose of the application is to allow residents to assist his son and partner and to give additional medical and general care and support to them. It was considered that to reside nearby for a short period of time would be the most suitable way to assist the family. The applicant wrote to the Council for advice on the siting of the caravan and acted on what seemed to be the advice given. It later turned out that the Council believed the work to be unauthorised and required planning permission. The application was then submitted for the hard-standing and the caravan in the expectation that this would be approved on a temporary approval for 36 months to give active grandparents the opportunity to help and support the family to meet a short-term need. The current Local Development Plan policy indicates H7 temporary residential development that in exceptional circumstances residential caravans or other suitable forms of temporary accommodation may be permitted on a site to meet a justified short-term need, providing they can be adequately serviced and would not be visually intrusive. In such cases, occupancy conditions can be imposed. The applicant therefore requests that LRB give the applicant the assistance needed for a short period of time to allow the applicant to assist in the help and care to ensure the health and welfare of the family and to assist during times of medical emergency to provide support and assistance where necessary. In conclusion, it is requested by the applicant that the LRB accept there is a good, genuine need for a siting of a caravan at this location for a temporary period of time only, and to accept that this proposal is a justified family need and the proposal falls to be considered within the LDP policy H7 and can be improved if the LRB so agree. We've got further comments of interested parties, and we've got the relevant development plan policies. So the main issues for the local review body to consider are does the proposal conform with the relevant development plan policies, specifically in terms of LDP policy H7, does the proposal meet a justified short-term residential need at the specific location? On what basis is the residential element of the proposal acceptable in principle? Is the LRB satisfied the proposal is contrary to LDP policy IN7 and to national policy as set out in Scottish planning policy in respect of high flood risk? Would the proposal fail to preserve the setting of the nearby Category B listed bridge? If the proposal is considered to be contrary to the terms of the local development plan, are there any material considerations which would indicate that planning permission should be granted to the contrary? So, having outlined the documents in your papers, it now falls to the LRB to determine whether it has sufficient information to consider the review. It's confirmed that there is no representations from any party that we heard today. You have the following options. You can decide you have sufficient information before you to determine the review today. Request further information in the form of written representations. The LRB would be required to state precisely what information it was seeking and who would provide it. Resolve to hold a hearing, again specifying who would be invited to speak and on what matters. Resolve to hold a site visit, accompanied or unaccompanied. This can be done in conjunction with any of the above, but would obviously not allow a decision to be made today. And if the local review body resolves that you have sufficient information and that no further procedure is required, then you have the full powers to uphold, reverse or vary a determination. The decision notice will include a statement of the terms in which the planning authority has decided the case reviewed. You have a planning advisor present at your meeting. He is here to assist for this item. It's confirmed he has not had any involvement in this case and was not the case officer or the appointed officer for the application. He is purely here to give independent advice as needed on matters of planning policy, law or process to the local review body. So members are clear and no further clarification is required. I will ask the chairman now to lead the debate and in the first instance to lead you through the agenda papers together to decide if you have sufficient information before you make a determination today.
Thanks very much, Claire. Okay, members, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through the papers for points of clarification first, and then we'll ask Robert to show us the pictures which are already in your paper. So, looking at the papers themselves, we have in the index of contents a notice of notice of review and related documents, pages 11 to 38. Are there any points of clarification that are required there? Davey?
No, I think it's just to draw the committee's attention, page 24, on the conclusion of the team leader's letter to the applicant. I regret to advise that I would not be able to support the proposal because it does not comply with the requirements of the above-mentioned policies. Unfortunately, the applicant in some parts of his application has kind of ignored that recommendation. So just to draw the committee's attention here.
Okay, thank you very much. Well then, any other points in that part? And then report on the handling and related correspondence, which is pages 39 to 62. Are there any points of clarification required? We'll then go on from the observations of the appointed officer on the application agent's notice of review, which is pages 63 to 68. Any points of clarification required? And then comments of applicants and observation of the appointed officer and related pre-application advice dated 4th of August 2017, pages 69 to 77. Any points of clarification? We then have the planning application form itself, associated plans and supporting information, pages 79 to 99. Any points of clarification required? Right, David?
I'd like to get back there, I'm trying to find the page now. Well, that, the kind of plan or the layout of the area, do we have photographs of that? Page 76. Have we got pictures?
We're going to be having pictures at the end of this. Points of clarification, David, all right?
Right.
Any points of clarification, pages 101 to 108. We then have the relevant extracts from the Dumfries and Galloway Local Development Plan, pages 109 to 228. Any points of clarification? And then we have the photos of the application site and locality, pages 229, but Robert's going to take us through those particular photographs at the moment, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Just for clarity, these replicate the photos as they appear in your papers at pages 231 to 233. These have been provided by the appointed officer, so I haven't visited the site myself, but I am familiar with it. This is the application site as existing, so if you look at that plan on, I think was it page 76, yes it was, what you're looking at here is you're looking along the site effectively. So what you can see is the old disused road and the bridge in the background there. You can see the parapet wall. You can see the fencing in front. That would be the site of the mobile home, and you can see the hard standing area as well. And on the right hand side you can see the C6N public road, which links A Village to the A701, just at the river there. So the bridge is listed and the C6N public road is on the right hand side just behind that fence. This is a...
Can I just ask for a point of clarification? It says the old disused road, is it used?
The road over the bridge is disused. This is a view, this is taken from Google Street View, so this dates from 2009, so quite some time before the application. It shows you a previous view of the site, so it's the application site prior to the development, so you can see the similarity with the fence there, but you can see the changing characteristics of the actual area itself. This is, sorry. Okay. Yes.
Press the button.
Sorry, has the site actually been built up?
No, this is prior to the development taking place.
No, but has it subsequently been built up in order to take up this gap?
Yes, you've got the formation of a hard standing area you can see there instead of the vegetation that was shown in the previous picture. The next view, that's the site. To compare it, that's comparative view, that's as existing. You can see the C6N public road on the right hand side and the footpath as well. The bridge again is in the background there. You can see the parapet wall and you can see the top of the arch. This is a closer view of the category B listed bridge. So the application site with the headless fencing is on the right hand side and you can see the proximity to the bridge. And the river's obviously out just on the left hand side there at the bottom. It's a closer view of the site and showing the engineering works that have taken place. So effectively it's a level concrete platform that you're seeing there. There have obviously been some level changes too. And I would suspect the importation of some of that material as well. This is showing, this is in the opposite direction, so this is looking away from the bridge. So it's showing the access to the site from the C6M public road, and the parking area, which is utilised for Bridgend Cottage, which you can see in the background. This is a view, similar direction, but this is on the C6M public road, showing Bridgend Cottage on the left-hand side and the application site on the right-hand side, just beyond that timber fence to the rear of the footpath. That's a view of the rear curtilage. This is of Bridgend Cottage and the access to that. So you can see that. So coming back, that's when you see where the silver Renault Clio's parked in the building there on the left-hand side. This is a closer view, and it's panning round slightly. And again, that is zooming in, it's moving up to the Harris fencing for a closer view of the rear curtilage of Bridgend Cottage as it is.
David?
That last photograph, is that behind Bridgend Cottage? Is that part of their land?
If you look at the plan on page 76 is probably the best one to refer to. When you see the property Bridgend marked, you can see the application site. So what you're looking at in this picture, it's on the opposite side of the C6M public road to the actual application site. So you've got a kind of diagonally positioned building shown on the plan on page 76. That is that building that you can see there. So what you're doing is this is going beyond that and it's looking closer into the site. So this is, yes, it's behind Bridgend Cottage. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is the embankment and the trees to the old disused road. So that's screening the site from the A701. But yeah, yes, you're looking at the rear curtilage of Bridgend Cottage here.
Okay, members, we have been asked to look at this and the requested method of determination. The applicant has asked that the review be dealt with the following range on the basis of further written submission to enable the applicant to clarify his reasons for appeal, on the basis of one or more hearing sessions to consider in detail the reasons for temporary permission, and by means of an inspection of land which is subject to review as a site visit would clarify the location. Members, it's over to you. How would you like to proceed with this?
Just proceed through the papers, Chair.
Okay. Well, we've seen the notice of review and appeal by the applicant. It's over to members now to say what they feel about this application. I'm willing to listen. Over to yourselves. Jeff?
I think part of the justification for building on this side of the road on the current site is because, as it says on, not actually number, I think it's page 91, the side stroke rear garden of the cottage is steep and difficult to excavate, whereas the development site is flat. It seems to be totally contrary to the photographic evidence, which seems to show that the site to the side and rear is flat, and obviously in order to develop where they are, they've had to do a substantial amount of engineering work.
You said you know the area pretty well. Would there be issues with the behind the cottage actually putting that or getting the static into that area?
I don't think so. You're obviously considering what's in front of you just now, but in terms of the alternatives, what you're looking at here is temporary siting of a static caravan or a lodge building, as is shown in the papers, for a period of 3 years to kind of meet a need that's arising at that property. I would have thought, in my experience of static caravans, you could probably have sited a caravan in that alternative location. But again, obviously, you're here to determine what's in front of you.
Any other members? Okay, members, first of all, do we have enough information? Jock has suggested we move on through this. I'm quite happy to agree with that. So the applicant has written and has made his appeal. Has anybody got any comments to make on that?
Doug?
Yeah, I'm
kind of taken into consideration what everybody's saying here, and obviously Robert's alternative as such, speaking loosely. I know that area quite well, and I know where the caravan is or will be situated. And obviously, we've not got any real issue with flooding. But the thing was, policy H7, temporary residential development, it kind of fits all that criteria really, apart from the visually intrusive. But I mean, if you're looking at that from this point of view, you could possibly put something up in the meantime that would protect that area from that intrusiveness if it was to be viewed upon as that. That makes sense.
Obviously, we have to make a decision on this application as it is today. That would be are you suggesting that we could actually approve this today with extra conditions?
Yeah, I suppose I'm saying that, Chair, yeah, to a degree, yes.
Jeff?
I mean, I've got every sympathy with the reason why the applicant wants to cite a temporary structure to be close to his son and daughter-in-law and the children in order to give them assistance. But I don't think this is the appropriate place to put it. It's a big site. I mean, the caravan itself is 1,500 square feet, and it is very close to a B-listed bridge. I don't see what screen you could put in to mitigate the impact it would have.
Okay, members. So we have a decision to make. The decision is that, first of all, we make the decision today. We don't need a site visit. The recommendations as stands within the report can go forward from the LRB. I don't know if you've got a seconder, Doug? No. Okay, so that falls. So the LRB, looking at you guys, is that the decision of the officer's recommendation stands, and we move forward that way. Clark, can you want to say anything?
It was just one observation. It was picking up what Councillor Fairbairn said. I think if you look at the appointed officer comments on page 66, there's a paragraph there that quite encapsulates the situation. And the appointed officer, this is the appointed officer's view, it says, in this instance, the siting would be visually intrusive and have a negative impact on the setting of a Category B listed structure, so that's the old bridge. As such, the proposal fails to comply with policy H7. However, should a location be chosen that would be suitably screened from the listed structure, out with the floodplain and information provided from a medical professional confirming the medical conditions, then it is likely that a 3-year temporary siting of a caravan would be acceptable in a revised location. So I think, as Councillor Fairbairn says, you know, it's maybe just, and Councillor Lever have said, it's probably something acceptable just in the wrong location in this case. The slight difficulty is you're here to determine what's in front of you today, but I think there's a degree of comfort that if a different application came in to have the caravan in a different location, it could well be successful. There seems to be a site there that would maybe meet the needs of all parties.
Okay, members, so the suggestion is that we go with the recommendations of the officers. Is there any other minded? Claire, can you make the decision, LRB?
Okay, thank you, Chair. So you're upholding the decision of the appointed officer and refusing the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. I have no further business today. Thank you very much for attending. I'm sure officers will contact the agency. There is an opportunity there in another place. Thank you.